Are you marginalized because of your profession? Do you feel you receive the recognition you deserve as a performing artist?
I was always that child in the family. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. My sister had a beautiful satin dress. I did everything by myself. I think this freedom is a great feeling. I feel so lonely among the crowds. Everyone feels lonely, don't they? Are you crying?
In this episode of Can't Ask, our guest is Cake Mosque. Cake is a drag queen. Are you the most beautiful drag queen?
Of course I'm the most beautiful drag queen, darling.
Mademoiselle Coco?
There are some people who say that, but I say let the people decide.
So, if there was a drag race in Turkey, who would be your favorite contestant?
I would say Cake Mosque. Who would be my favorite? I could also say Melinda. There are so many. I'm trying to name drag queens from the new generation. I shouldn't talk about the old ones. There's Anatholia, I like her. She's also very talented. I like Florence very much. She is also very talented. I would go back and forth between the two.
Are your fans mostly women or men?
Mostly women, because I do things that attract women. I do makeup. I follow fashion. I make costumes. But of course, there are things that men are interested in. In fact, when I was getting ready to come here, I had a live broadcast at home. I wore eyelashes and I put them on immediately. She said, "You wore better eyelashes than me." I said to her, "Honey, I assure you, there are many other things I do better than you." They say, "Oh, you're even more beautiful than me," or something like that. Of course I am more beautiful than you. I worked on it for 3 hours. That's not the point. We're not competing over who's prettier. You can do it if you want. You should be pretty too. It's not about who's prettier or who's cooler, and I think it's also important to carry it off. That's the most important thing. Women admire it more because it attracts women more.
Are you on any kind of dating apps?
I'm on all of them.
And on these dating apps?
Yes.
Are you on as Cake Mosque or as owner?
I don't exist as owner. I'm on as Cake Mosque because no one writes when I'm owner. When I share my photos as Cake Mosque, everyone writes. If it is an LGBTI plus dating app, we call it cross-dressing. We don't call it drag when you do it at home. Men who like cross-dressing usually write to me. These are all kinds of people. There are police officers, lawyers, doctors, but it's usually closeted people who write because they love it. It's something different for them. So I'm on all of them.
You're actually a performance artist.
Yes.
Do you feel uncomfortable being associated with a different kind of erotic image or role?
I mean, it doesn't bother me to be associated with eroticism because sometimes eroticism can take place in the show, but sometimes it doesn't. There are different kinds of drag. First of all, there is a beauty queen. There are queens that we call experimental queens. There is a comedy queen. So you have to choose which one you appeal to. One of them might be able to put on a better show. She can use everything in her show. She can be sexy. She can use eroticism. Comedy queens usually do their show interactively with people with a microphone and do comedy. So it's actually important here which category you are in, which one suits you, and which category you do your show in. So that's why I think eroticism is everywhere in life. That's why it doesn't really bother me. I think this freedom is a great feeling. It's in my hands, the state of being erotic when I want to be erotic and not erotic when I don't want to be. That's what really attracts me to this work. Because when I am Onur, sometimes I don't want to draw attention to myself at all. Wearing a black overcoat zipped all the way up and a hat, I become completely unnoticeable. But when I open the coat and reveal what's inside, that's what I like the most.
When did you do drag first?
When was the first time? How old was I? I must have been 6 or 7 years old. My sister had a beautiful satin dress. She bought it for my cousin's wedding. I was wearing it and spinning around at home when suddenly the doors opened. And of course I was caught. And this behavior was not welcomed at all. I was about 6 or 7 years old. Not 6, but 7. And then I continued to wear dresses.
What was the reaction of your family?
I mean, when I was first caught, of course, it was not nice. After all, it was something they didn't know about. I guess they said, "What are we going to do with this child now?" I was very young myself. I don't remember exactly. Then I was caught many more times doing other things. It was quite scandalous. I mean, it wasn't nice, of course. They didn't understand. They didn't react very harshly, but they didn't react nicely either. It's not something they can learn in a day. That process has already affected the rest of our life and our relationship. At the moment, Our relationship is just beginning to settle down. We respect each other more in everything. Our relationship is not like this only because of my sexual orientation. I was always that child in the family. Breaking windows, blowing up the house, burning the house down. I was very naughty when I was little. Not just my sexual orientation, but my craziness. My craziness from their point of view was already a problem. Even if I was heterosexual, I wouldn't have been good for them. It's not just because of my sexual orientation, but everything is fine now because they're old and they're on antidepressants. That's why they're doing so well.
What is this craziness?
What is this craziness? I mean, things that are not crazy to me, but crazy to them. The fact that I dye my hair, wear piercings, cut my jeans, wear ripped Converse, or wear Converse in winter. Now that I think about it, it seems ridiculous to me too. I mean, in the snow and winter. But you know, when you're young, you don't get cold. The fact that I dance. Then what our parents always told us when we were young was, choose a profession for yourself and make sure it's insured. So I was against all of that. And I actually found my way on my own. Nobody guided me. I think this is the most important thing here. This is what I can be proud of about myself. I did everything on my own because no one guided me or encouraged me. On the contrary, I was always drawing, going to art classes. You expect appreciation when you are a child because you are learning and you don't know anything. And since there wasn't much appreciation in our family, of course you learn it later. I mean, I was such a maniac. The one who didn't study, who was successful without studying. Because listening to lectures was enough for me. I didn't need to go home and study. I did many things on my own and learned on my own. At the end of the day, where I am in life right now is enough for me, and it makes me happy. That's how it is. I can say many more things about it.
Did these tensions you mentioned within the family lead you to leave home at a young age?
I mean, we can't say these tensions directly because I started working at the age of 18. I was already working in the summers. It's not exactly because of these tensions. I think the healthy thing is to stand on your own feet when you are 18 and leave home and start your own life. Having a place of your own, building your own life, and truly feeling and showing that you exist as an individual. But because of the traditionalism in Turkey, some people in Turkey live with their parents until the age of 40, and I don't understand that at all. This seems very unhealthy to me, and I find it dangerous. I can't say directly because of these tensions. I mean, of course, that also has an effect, because ultimately you seek acceptance from others, but accepting yourself is something else. Because you learn a lot of things. You learn a lot about your sexual identity. No one comes and teaches you anything. You know how it is in traditional families in Turkey. You know, no one ever comes to talk to you about sexuality, neither for girls nor for boys, because everything happens on its own. There was nothing like that in the education system in schools anyway, so you have to do everything on your own. I think I actually left home with the enthusiasm of learning, not those tensions. I mean, that enthusiasm for learning. You think about what's going on outside, what life is like outside, and you actually leave your biological family and head towards finding your chosen family. I was lucky, and I always came across wonderful people I called my chosen family at a young age. I learned so much from them.
Do you feel lonely?
Do I feel lonely? I mean, of course I do from time to time. I mean, I feel so lonely among the crowds. I mean, everyone feels lonely, right? Sometimes you feel lonely. I've never seen a person who says they never feel lonely.
Don't you have a boyfriend?
I don't have a boyfriend. I would say I have multiple boyfriends. I don't. So it's hard to find a boyfriend. It's also hard to find a boyfriend in Turkey, dear. Because I have a profession that is already so difficult to be understood by the society and the general public. I always start one step behind, even when establishing a relationship with someone and meeting someone. And now, because of these dating apps, it's like this. The whole system of meeting people has become such that what happens now is just, where do you live? Do you live alone? When shall we meet? What's your height? How's your body? Let's meet. Have sex. Then bye-bye. That's why it's also difficult to find a boyfriend. In fact, that's why I said I was lonely in the previous question. Because, as I said, it's very easy now. Even finding sex has become very easy and it's exhausting. When dating apps and technology were not so much in our lives, where did we meet? We were going to bars, cafes. You could even meet on the street. Or when you wanted to meet someone, even when you met online, you would go to the movies, go out to eat, go to a bar and have a drink. Now you just meet at home, have sex, and that's it. That's why it seems so depressing to me now. It's sad that it's come down to this, but it's like this in other countries too. Maybe not as much as it is here, because I think this is also the reason for this. So, from a sociological perspective, being repressed pushes people there. Sexuality was never taught to anyone, neither by family nor through education in schools, because it is very important for a person to feel safe, to know themselves. So sometimes I stay away, sometimes I can't, because it actually makes me feel sick. Now, for example, let me post a photo now so you can see the messages that I get. Always the same thing. It's so boring. There's nothing else. Can you host? Where do you live? Etc., etc. And when I say I have a roommate, they say, is your roommate a CD too? What are you gonna do? Fuck my roommate too. What's that got to do with it? When I hear this question, I immediately block them.
Do you feel that you receive the recognition you deserve as a performing artist?
I do and I don't. In Turkey, it actually depends more on where you do this work. You both get it and you don't. People are more conscious now. The language has evolved because everything has changed. Your relationship with people has changed. Now, people are in a better position to say what they want and what they don't want. When you do it in safer spaces, it's appreciated. For example, the thing that drives me crazy the most is that I hate being touched here and there in drag, my hair, my face, and stuff like that. Because that's how they see you. They are drunk or they are high. So they see you as a toy, and there's a tendency to touch your face and your hair. That has changed a bit now. When you see a drag queen, I say this at every opportunity, you shouldn't touch anyone without permission. Also, when you see a drag queen, you shouldn't touch them at all. But people have learned this slowly. We call the places where they learn these things safe areas. When I do shows in these safe spaces, I can say that I get the value I deserve. Sometimes something like this happens. Someone comes out of nowhere and starts touching your intimate parts while you're performing a show. It changes. People are also learning. The situation was completely different in the 90s. Now it is completely different. Slowly, people are learning. But since Turkey follows everything 23 years behind, not just in current events, but in every aspect of life, that's just how it is. While the world is doing completely different things, here we are still talking about things like, don't touch me here, don't touch me there. I can't say that I do or don't receive the value I deserve. It's right in the middle. I think it depends on where you are.
Does drag only mean exaggerated makeup, wigs, and fancy clothes?
Well, of course. Drag includes costumes, makeup, glamour, splendor, and all that stuff. But the point of drag, the origin of drag, is actually a rebellion against social norms. Drag is actually a form of performance that challenges the norms imposed on us by society. It's a way of expressing yourself on stage and questioning those patterns that are constantly imposed on us. Sometimes I see people who can pull off drag even with high-heeled shoes only made out of bricks. Sometimes I watch, for example in Thailand, children wrap bricks around their feet and wrap sheets around them. That's also drag. Because they made something out of nothing. So I can't say that it's just makeup, wigs, and stuff like that.
How many different Cake characters do you have?
I don't have a Cake character. I have different characters. When I first started this work, my name was Nurtopu Sachin. It has a political subtext. I won't go there now. You can find it on the internet and type the name into Google. Then my name became Miss Burek. Of course, that also has a subtext. After all, you create characters inspired by something. Then I became Miss Akmerkes. Akmerkes, like mall girls. Then what else did I do? Then Cake was born. That's how it is in this profession, as I said. The most fun part is being free and being able to do whatever you want, so getting stuck in something bores me. Then I want to break my chains and escape from there. Of course, while these things change, your makeup, your hair, everything changes. Now I've been using Cake for a long time. It has become a bit of a brand. It has become a name. I have a YouTube show. It's called You Won't Believe What's Happening Here. Don't forget to subscribe. The most fun part, it's so freeing. From my point of view, how did I start this work? How were the characters created? It was actually born from censorship. It always came out of censoring, being censored. Maybe if my mother hadn't given me that reaction when she caught me in my sister's dress when I was 6 years old that day, if she would have reacted differently, if she had been an informed person about this issue. For example, if there was a homosexual person in our family and it was something they also recognized and knew about, maybe I would have had a different drag character. I don't know. Or maybe not. Because that censoring part triggered me and it came out. Because when my mother told me not to do that again, I didn't stop. I kept going, I kept doing it, I didn't stop. In the end, I realized that I actually like doing this very much. Then, when you research the truth of the matter, you learn a lot of things. Then I realized that this is an event that has come out of that censorship situation, that drag is the whole point. But lately, unfortunately, because of the situation we are in our country, I realized that I am self-censoring. And when I realized this, it made me extremely sad. Because I say to myself, how can I do such a thing? I still haven't been able to give you the answer. Why am I practicing self-censorship on myself? But of course, there are so many underlying reasons for this. Of course, maybe I'm getting a little older now. When I was young, I didn't care. Maybe I couldn't see this clearly then. That veil has been lifted. I see more clearly now. I don't really know. But this self-censorship is, of course, a terrible thing because it destroys and restricts all my creativity. So when you go abroad and come back, you feel more comfortable there because you do the same things there. But people's reactions and the way they talk to you are different. As you go abroad and come back, you see this, you face it, and everything suddenly becomes meaningless. Then you try to adapt to the situation here again. Doing this job and practicing self-censorship is like that, like imprisoning yourself somewhere. Psychologically, I'm slowly trying to eliminate it now. Are you crying?
Who is Cake Mosque?
Who is Cake Mosque? Cake Mosque is a cool club girl, a model. She's also a party girl. She can actually do anything she wants. She analyzes everything very well in the environments she enters. That's the kind of girl Cake Mosque is. She mesmerizes everyone wherever she goes. With her beauty, of course I'm named after Kate Moss. That's it.
I'm curious about this. Can we say that you are actually hiding behind this drag image? I mean, is there a part of you that you don't want to show people?
It's not like there are storms raging inside me. Oh, no. No, that's not the case. It's not that I don't want to show certain things to people. That's not usually the case. It doesn't happen in the lives of people like me. We don't hide behind something. It's not that we don't want to show anything. On the contrary, we want to show more. I wish we could show more if there were opportunities. Actually, we are not given the opportunity and we cannot show it. We can only do this much. If you ask me or my other friends about it. So that's how it is. So there is no such thing as hiding behind something. No, it's not like that. It's not like hiding behind something or something I don't want to show. I mean, we would show more things if we could.
Would you do the same things even if you appeared on stage as owner?
I wouldn't. Because if I appeared on stage as owner, I would only dance. I would dance as a male dancer. I would.
Are you marginalized in your personal life because of your profession?
There are times when I am marginalized, and there are times when I am not. I mean, as I said, since I live in the bubble I built myself, when I step out of that bubble, of course there are times when I am marginalized. Overcoming prejudices and teaching people is the real issue. Although I'm not sure how accurate it is to say teaching, but in the end, it's actually about teaching. Because if they don't know, they should learn. Because we are here and we are doing this job, and you can either accept it or not. So there is no such world. I can't give a clear answer. I cannot say that I am not marginalized. I can also say that I am not marginalized. I mean, if you were born in this land and you have this sexual identity, you have to be constantly on guard. And while you are constantly expressing yourself or living life, you need to constantly have a guard, and you need to have that shield, and you need to live like that because something can happen to you in the subway A situation of marginalization can happen to you in a store, in a taxi, wherever, no matter how much I tell you that I don't go out of my own safe zone, I live in my bubble. No matter how much I say this, I still interact with people. So unfortunately, there are times it happens, but people are learning little by little. Do I have the patience? I don't know. Let them learn quickly.
Now that we're talking about marginalization, you said you were teaching society.
Yes, I am.
But our society is no stranger to this. For years, we have bowed respectfully in front of LGBTI+ artists, and we applauded them. When is someone marginalized, and when are they not?
Since society is already hypocritical, the same people who respectfully bow and watch them perform in certain clubs are also the ones who end up harming or even killing them. There is no difference in that respect. That's why it is a two-faced society, first and foremost. When is it marginalized? When is it not marginalized? You know how they always say, whatever you do, don't let the neighbors hear it. Well, it all comes down to this issue. Whatever you go through, don't speak about it. Go live behind closed doors and don't speak about it. If I give the example of Bülent Ersoy and Zeki Müren, we never heard anything about Zeki Müren being homosexual. Once, Huysuz Virgin, Seyfi Dursunoğlu, participated in a program. Of course, that was ridiculous because they asked Seyfi Dursunoğlu about Zeki Müren's sexual identity through Huysuz Virgin. And he says, of course, don't ask me such a question. He says, I am not the addressee of this question. In other words, people who are in the public eye on TV now accept this situation, but never declare it. Bülent Ersoy has never said, I am transsexual, I defend transsexual rights. She doesn't have to defend it either. No one needs to be a poster girl or boy. But since Bülent Ersoy never made a statement like, I am transsexual, I am a trans woman, society has adopted her as a woman. This is what should be adopted anyway. But since Bülent Ersoy has never claimed anything and never declared it in such a way, the society doesn't know or learn about it. Because in order to teach something, you have to shove it in their eye. You have to say it all the time. You have to explain it. You may be aware of the Selin Ciğerci case very recently. After all, Selin Ciğerci does not do sex work. She has a very nice, good life. She has money. She is a very well-off woman. She lives in wealth. She is also very successful at work, in her business. She goes to Konya, and even in 2023, they chant, "Get out of Konya," and recite religious slogans to drive her out. They literally force the girl to leave the city. I don't know. I think these issues will never change. It is very difficult to raise awareness and change this situation. This is a human right. It needs to be explained. It needs to be taught. Our generation needs to completely fade away so that the current generation can take over. For example, my friends have children. When I communicate with them, they tell me, "Oh, Onur, are you a boy or a girl?" They are young children. I tell them, and they really learn, and it should go on like this. Sometimes I have nail polish on my finger. They ask me, "Are you a girl? Why are you wearing nail polish?" I tell them that you don't need to be a girl to wear nail polish. We need to explain the whole of Turkey as if we were explaining it to small children. Only then will this situation change, but it is very difficult. I have been trying to do activism and raise awareness since I was quite young. But sometimes I say, what am I doing here? I want to get up and leave because this life is not life. At some point, it gets tiring to struggle for this here when you can be in contact with sweet people in other sweet countries of the world. That's why sometimes part of me says go. Part of me still says stay. That's how it is.
In this episode of Can't Ask, our guest was drag queen Cake Mosque. Please don't forget to turn on your notifications to be informed about our new videos. If there are different guests you want to see, and if you have any questions you want to ask, please write in the comments. See you in the next video.